So how have you been?
Oh, I've been fine. I really can't say too much. All my genitals are in the right place. Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope so at least.
hmm
Because if they weren't, I'd have to be like, go to the hospital, Dave. There's something majorly wrong.
I felt bad for you, and I wanted to understand your plight, so I conducted my own.
I see. And how did that turn out?
It did not turn out well.
I didn't think so, so maybe you should go to the hospital after all. Let's see, the last time I spoke to you in the failed Talk Time recording,
hmm
I actually had the dates of all my stuff planned out, because at the time, during the first announcement of the whole thing, I didn't, and I was just kind of like, it's whenever they plan it, I just know it's going to be in August.
Right.
The 28th of June, I had my pre-op and the orientation for the whole thing, which was basically stuff they could have told me during my initial visit
Right.
when I was deciding to get the hysterectomy done. So that was kind of a waste of time, but I went and I did it. And then the other half of that was my pre-op, which is basically they take blood, run a few tests, and make sure you're not allergic to anything they might be doing during the operation.
hmm
And then you go about your business until Operation Day, which for me was August the 2nd at 7:30 in the morning. We had to be there at 5, which I'm not really sure why we had to be there at 5, because they didn't, registration didn't open until like 5:30.
hmm
So I'm just like, well, we're here and we can sit down and wait. So I made my plans the day before to start my medical leave on the 1st, which I did,
hmm
so that I would have time to go to the store, buy any food or medicine I might need, before I was unable to leave my apartment.
Right.
Which I did. I bought like $100 worth of food that should last me the entirety of at least August, I hope.
Oh, okay.
And,
Where'd you get a month's worth of food for $100?
I went to Yugo, which is
Oh, we don't.
United Grocery Outlet.
Oh, I guess we don't have one of those.
Yeah. Normally, if it still existed here, but they closed up shop, last year, I would go to Save-A-Lot and get most of my stuff. And even there, I would get just about everything except for my meats,
hmm
which I would then go to Yugo for. But, yeah, I got pretty much everything, meats, a few frozen things, and other stuff like that. And it came to about $91.
Mm. Save-A-Lot sounds like the shopping district of the Care Bears hometown. Okay, sorry.
But unfortunately, Save-A-Lot doesn't exist anymore, so I am spending a little more on food than I used to. But, anyway, I got all of that done. Now, beforehand, I want to go back to the day I was getting my pre-op and stuff done, because we had an unexpected problem crop up.
Oh, great.
As many of you may know or may not know, I do not drive. I don't know how to drive, and I don't have a car. Considering my medical leave does not pay me for time off I did not earn, money is a little important, and I do not need to waste it on unnecessary things if I can help it.
Taxi and Uber type thing.
Yeah, kind of thing. Up until that point, things were going well, and my brother's like, yeah, I'll take you to all that, and then I'll take you for your surgery. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And then that Thursday came, the day before, like, about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. My brother stops by. He's not driving his car because he's in shit tons of pain. He has a temperature of almost 100 degrees, and he's going to the hospital. So...
You didn't say to him beforehand, I'll race you there.
No, he's going to the local hospital, the night of, and he's like, Kassie, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take you or not. We'll see what the doctors say. And if not, he's like, I'll figure something out. And I'm like, well, all right. I mean, I can't really not go. I mean, I have to have this done. He's like, no, I know. And so he leaves. He goes to the hospital. And it's about 2 a.m. before he calls me to tell me that they're admitting him.
Mm-hmm.
And the initial problem, which kept happening, and the whole reason he keeps having to go to the hospital, I made a joke when he was here before he went to the hospital, that he's the one going to the hospital more than I am. He's the one in constant pain, yet I'm the one who's got cancer and has to have surgery.
Right.
You know, he's like, I don't get that. I'm like, I've had more surgeries than you have, Kelvin, and you're older than me by 10 years. But anyway, and he calls me at 2 a.m, and he's like, they're admitting me. And the reason, outside of the pain and the fever, he had blood in his stool again.
Oh.
And this is keeps to be a reoccurring problem that the hospital's like, we don't know what the fuck's going on, so we're just going to send you home. But they admitted him this time. So when I woke up, he basically got me a deal with the cab company he works for, to where instead of paying the $60 for both to get there and come home, I just paid $30. And I'm like, well, that's still sucky, but it's better than paying $60. So I saved some money there. But I went and I did that, and then I had the taxi drop me off at the hospital so I could see him, and they had him on the good medicine.
Right.
And they had taken him off his Coumadin. Long story short, he had a blood clot in his spleen.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put him on Coumadin to dissolve it. And of course, once you have a blood clot, you have to be on the blood thinner the rest of your life. But they couldn't figure out what was wrong from the normal tests, so they were going to put a scope down his throat and up his butt.
Oh.
And in order to
he got to it before I did.
Yeah.
Oh,
and because they figured out it had to be something going on with like his stomach or maybe his intestines or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because they couldn't find anything else wrong. So he's like, they're gonna do that Monday, and I'm like, well, do you know if they're gonna keep you longer than Monday? Should I make other arrangements? He's like, I don't know, we probably should wait and see. And I'm like, well, alright then.
Yeah, that's not the world's best strategy there, but...
Yeah, but I mean, I don't really got a choice.
Not a lot you can do, yeah.
Because, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, our family pretty much treats us as if we don't exist, so it's just us.
Mm-hmm.
So, Monday came, I went to work, and I got off work, and I talked to him, because he's like, they might release me Monday, depending on how, like, the scope and everything went, and I'm like, well, maybe, but anyway, he called, and he told me that apparently he had hemorrhoids deep in there, his stomach acid was too much, so they put him on, a heartburn thing to control the stomach acid. And that they had removed 4 polyps from his butthole.
Well, he's having a harder time pooping than you are then.
Well, yes, he has been, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Even before all that, it was, he had been on all kinds of stool softeners. And it had been really hard for him to do much of anything. I mean, like I said, he's been in and out of the hospital more times than I have, and at the moment, I'm thinking I have the bigger problem, because that was the sort of kind of not really joke that I was making.
Right.
So I asked Kelvin, I'm like, well, did they say anything about, the pop? Because I'm like, that's not really a good thing given our family history. And he's like, well, the doctor told me it didn't look cancerous, but he's still sending it off to biopsy to make sure. And I'm like, well, all right. And so then they let him out, and then things are going okay. And so he's taking me around town doing all my chores on the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I grab us a pizza to make in the oven, and I get stuff to drink, and I'm making sure that I'm stopping all eating and drinking at midnight.
Yeah.
of course, we're already dreading, like, having to be there at 5 in the morning because we are both night owls. That's going to be a pain in the ass to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
We get ready to go to bed at 12, and we wake up at 3, and we're both, like, really annoyed and really groggy. We both have showers.
Right.
We get dressed, and we go over there. It's not open, so we sit down and wait. The first thing I notice when I walk into UT Hospital, into, like, the main fountain entrance, is that there's homeless people sleeping in there. Or I'm assuming they're homeless. I don't know if maybe they just got there really early to make sure they were there too when stuff opened up for the things they needed. I'm not really sure. But they're there sleeping, just random people.
Right.
Did I mention UT's a public hospital, whereas the local hospital here that normally I would go to if I needed to do something isn't. It's private hospital. So I guess maybe that's a difference. I don't know. But, so anyway, we're sitting there and we're just chatting and, things are going well. Registration opens. I go get registered along with all the other people there who have to have surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And then they take me to where the pre-operation stuff is so that we can get settled and get our IVs and stuff. And, things are still going okay even though we're both slightly tired. The nurse is like, okay, here's your stuff, go get changed, make sure you're entirely naked underneath. And I'm like, okay, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
then she was like, no, go behind the curtain first.
Yeah, well, no, I had a bathroom, so I walked in there. But my bathroom was shared with my, the guy next door to me, or the lady next door, I don't know. So if you went into the bathroom, you had to lock the other door so that they couldn't come in on you.
Right.
So that was a little weird, but okay. And so, of course, being so early in the morning, I'm like, man, I gotta use the bathroom. So I make sure to do a number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I get out and I start washing my hands, the nurse comes in with a little cup and is like, oh, by the way, I need you to pee in this. And I'm standing there like, I can't do that. I just used the bathroom while I was changing my clothes. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, right before you leave, make sure you try and pee. And I'm just like, okay.
It's for my collection.
I mean tests that we have to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, alright, I'll try, but I don't know if anything else is going to be coming out of there. I wish you had told me beforehand instead of just now, but anyway. So, we're just hanging out, and the nurse comes in there to start hooking me up to my IV. And the way she phrases her, what she's asking me, it's like, is there a specific reason you have to have 2 IVs? And I'm kind of sitting there thinking, like, no,
I didn't ask.
I don't know why I would have to have 2 separate IVs when you could just put all the medicine in one. And, at least that's the way I interpreted what she said to me. And so she takes me by the left hand, and I tell her, I'm like, I would prefer if you could put the needle in my hand, and she's like, I don't think I could get that. So I'm gonna have to put it somewhere else. So she keeps rotating my hand. I'm like, please, dear God, don't put it in my wrist. And she kind of does put it in my wrist, but not like where you would see all the veins. She puts it here in the side. Mm-hmm. Like right here in the side where the wrist bone is. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, well, whatever. At least we got it in there. I don't have to worry about it. Then she moves the bed and starts doing the same thing to my other hand. And I'm like, why are you putting another one in? And she's like, oh, it's because you're going to have the robot surgery. She's like, basically, they don't want anything or anyone in there, unless it absolutely has to be, because there's a certain sterilization process, to make sure everything is clean and nothing like infection or whatever, at least to prevent all of that. She's like, so if, say, one IV goes down, you've got the second one. They don't have to go in there and fix something and then have to re-sterilize everything all over again. I was like, oh, that's really annoying, but sure. So I have like all these needles and shit in me from all of this. And, but nothing, super crazy at the moment. And then around 7:30, they wheel me off to surgery. And I don't know if you've ever had surgery, Dave, but when they put that oxygen mask on your face, always for the first few minutes, it feels like you're being smothered. Maybe that's just me.
No, when I had all my my teeth taken out, they put me under, and I don't remember feeling smothered. I remember saying, I can see the nurse's panties, and then just going out. So maybe I was distracted.
Well, for me, it always seems like being smothered for the first minute or two. But then I guess the body is like, oh wait, I'm not being suffocated. I can still breathe through this. So, and then once that, sets in, like you're good to go. And so of course they're hooking me up to all this shit, and they're like, make sure you breathe deeply and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I am, but you have the mask is crooked. I don't know if this is supposed to knock me out or what, but the mask is crooked. And eventually I went nighty-night. And I woke up in recovery with the intense urge to pee.
Oh, well, that worked out.
Right? And I'm just like, oh my God, I have to pee so bad. But you're in such a groggy state from the anesthesia that you pretty much wake up, look around, acknowledge you gotta pee, and you go right back to sleep.
Gonna pee, where's the bitch with the cup?
Right? And,
But you didn't get to see RoboDoc, huh?
No. I mean, the doctor came and talked to me, like, right before the surgery started, like, before they wheeled me into the operating room. And, I guess I should have went over that before I got to the surgery part, but anyway.
Well, no, you said that, the nurse said, oh, we have to put 2 in you because it's a robot doctor. You didn't get to see the robot?
No. Because I was asleep, so I guess they brought the robot in afterward or something?
He must be horrifying looking.
Well, I'd imagine so if there's a robot operating on you. But, now before the doctor...
Time to operate. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's alright. It's, for anybody who doesn't know what it's like to have the robots operating on you, because I didn't really until I saw a little bit of an image online. Basically, it's like, you ever see like the Muppets being controlled? Or puppets of some kind with robot sensors or something like that?
Oh, animatronics.
Yeah. Well, the doctor himself is manipulating the robot to do movements like that. And that way it's supposed to be far more sterile and in control. With him doing the actual operating. So it's not like a robot just guesstimating shit. I mean, there's an actual human doing the operation. He's just doing it from like a remote location.
Right.
And anyway, he came in there and he talked to me and he's like, are you doing all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. A little nervous because, operation and stuff. He's like, yeah. And he's like, so I'm going to go over one more time what I'm doing and what you should expect. And I'm like, yeah, okay. He's like, so I'm going to punch 5 holes into you to take out, your parts. And I'm like, yeah, okay. He's like, what I plan to do, and I asked the nurse about this when she was, when I had to sign all the consent forms. He had written on there, basically in fancy doctor terms, a total hysterectomy versus only a hysterectomy, where my ovaries are left in. And I didn't really understood that because when I initially went to that, orientation, they said it would be all the bits. Everything would be taken out. Basically, the reason why he wanted to try and leave the ovaries in there is because, given my age, I kind of need the benefits of my ovaries because apparently they pump out hormones that I still need. He's like, if you were 53, there would be no question. I just go ahead and take those out because your ovaries aren't probably being used anymore. But they
probably look like raisins.
Yeah, but at 33, you still need them if I can help it. He's like, so basically what's going to happen is I'm going to take everything out except your ovaries. Once I get your uterus out, I'm going to cut it in half and open it up. And if I don't like what I see, your ovaries are coming out. He's like, but if it doesn't look terrible, I'm leaving them in. And I'm like, okay, I understand. And so I found out later when I woke up the reason why I had this intense urge to constantly pee, like just massive amounts of pee, is apparently because of the catheter. I've never had a catheter before.
Oh, no. Hey. Post-traumatic stress. I'm sorry. Go on.
It's all right. So you understand a little of how I feel.
Well, from what I understand, catheters are a little worse for boys than girls.
Oh, okay. Well, let me explain. Was it a nice feeling like I had to pee?
No, it wasn't pleasant. No.
Feeling like I had to pee at all times. I felt like if I didn't get up and go to the bathroom, I was going to just wet the whole bed and everything. It'd be like a sea by the time I was done. But they told me it was just because the catheter was in there, and that's why I felt like that. And I'm like, well, I don't like it, and I want it out so I could go and use the bathroom normally if I'm allowed out of bed. And she's like, well, I have to go ask before I take anything like that out. And I was like, well, okay then. And it was, let's see, I went in there at 7:30. By the time I got to my room where my brother was waiting, because they actually put me in a hospital room, it was 12 o'clock, 12:30, so I was in recovery for a while, and my brother told me that my surgery only lasted about 90 minutes. He's like, that went, pretty fast, the way the doctor talked. I was like, oh, well, that's good. I'd rather have something quick and simple than, like, multiple complications,
Yeah.
And, so my brother, is talking to me, and he's like, Kassie, they did remove your ovaries. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, well, that must have been worse than, we initially thought. And he's like, well, I don't know, but he took them out. And I'm like, all right. And so then I just, laid there. And, so then we go back a little bit to Kelvin's problem. While he's, sitting there talking to me, he gets a phone call. And, it's the doctor who's been, trying to get a hold of him in, like, the last 2 days, after he got out of the hospital to, the gastro doctor. Mm-hmm. He's got the volume on his phone loud enough that I can hear it until the nurse comes in. Because basically they're telling him his pathology report for the polyps they took out. And, so because of her, I didn't get to hear it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, well, crap, I'll have to ask him about that later if I remember. And, but anyway, they took the catheter out, so I was super happy. And I went and I used the bathroom on my own. I was super happy about that, got back to the bed. And then all I had left to do was wait on food. And I was super happy. She's like, if you could eat these crackers, you can have actual food. And I was like, give me them damn crackers. I'm starving.
Yeah, I know the cracker test.
Yeah. And, so I swallowed those things down like they were nothing because they weren't. They weren't anything. And, Kelvin had left for them to take the catheter out, but then he came back in there and, I asked him as soon as he got off the phone, and I'm like, well, Ray, what did they say about your stuff? And he's like, well, 3 of the polyps were fine, but the 4th one was precancer. Mm-hmm. And I'm laying there and I think for a minute and I'm like, Kelvin, me and you are in the same boat. Because that's what mine was when I had my D&C. It was one came back precancer, the other were fine. So now he's got to go and get stuff done, and I don't know about all of that, but they're having him wait until like September 27th or something to go see the doctor. So, I mean, he must have felt fairly confident enough that it was just like a stray thing rather than like full out a problem we should try and deal with now. I don't know, but that it is concerning because mine came back precancer. Now his came back precancer. So, yeah.
Well, you said that your family has a proclivity for this sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean it's not surprising. It's just I guess surprising that it kind of happened at roughly the same time. Now he's got to deal with this crap that I'm having to deal with, except not in his manly bits.
Right.
Just in his other bits. Mm-hmm. But I went home the same day about 4 p.m. and they prescribed to me Colace, which is a stool softener, and hydrocodones. the good medicine. Apparently, for those who don't know, because I sure didn't, a hysterectomy will cause you to have pooping problems. So they prescribe stool softeners to hopefully make the pooping easier. Otherwise, you will have severe constipation. I did not poop until yesterday. Today is Sunday, the 5th. I pooped on the 4th, exactly 3 days after my surgery.
Well, congratulations.
And I also pooped today, so I think I'm doing good.
Yay. Well.
Because if I hadn't pooped today, I would have had to call the hospital and be like, hey, there's something wrong. I have yet to poop.
I think when you were digging around for stuff, you also took out my pooper.
Maybe. I hope not. Because, I wasn't in pain or anything. I'm just like, I can't poop. Like, the only thing
Is that normal?
If you don't poop in 3 days, yes. But if you don't, if you go longer than that, then yeah, you gotta call the doctor and be like, hey, something's wrong. But no, I pooped yesterday, which I was very glad for because I didn't want to have to go back to the hospital or,
Look, I made a poopy.
Right? I felt like I was 4 again. Like, I pooped in the toilet all on my own. I'm such a good girl. But, yeah. And so, basically I came home and I immediately went to bed to sleep because I was very tired from everything. And then, when I've hurt, I've taken the hydrocodones. And I will say, really, the only thing is, it feels like I've been sleeping so much that I'm losing track of, what medicines I've taken and when I've took them. So, I've kind of...
that reminds me, I should take mine.
Yeah, you might want to do that, Dave.
But, go on.
So, I'm just like, did I take the stool softener? I'm pretty sure I did. Did I drink the other stool softener? I don't know. I didn't even know today was Sunday until I asked my brother, and he's like, yeah, yesterday was Saturday. I'm like, it was? So I'm easily losing track of days, and I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's because of the pain medication. But I'm trying not to take that, if I can help it. The thing I have learned on my own, since I've been out of the hospital, is that I can't wear shorts or pants or anything like that because it hurts like fuck. So, an unforeseeable expense has been me getting online and ordering nightgowns and night shirts. Hopefully to be delivered soon that I can wear out and not have to go naked in my own apartment.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with just wandering around naked.
Well, there is when I'm having my brother around to help me
out.
I
guess there is then, yeah.
And, I don't have, like, any super long shirts that would cover my girl bits.
Of course, also, if you live on the ground floor and you have nosy neighbors, I've been in trouble before.
So, yeah, that's, mostly been my days so far.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're doing better than we expected you were going to be doing post-op, or...
Yeah. Apparently the nurses were surprised at how well I was doing, because they're like, you're go ahead and go home. I've never had somebody go home this early.
Every single time I went to the hospital, the nurses and the doctors are like, well, you're doing really good. It's, so good, in fact, you can just take off. I think they just say that.
Maybe, I don't know. So it was it yesterday? I was talking to my brother, and I was, we were talking about the surgery and the fact that he took out, the ovaries, and I made the comment again that I was surprised that, it was so bad that he had to go ahead and take them out too. And Kelvin's like, yeah, they were crystallized. And I was like, wait, what?
That ain't good.
Why did you tell me this when I was in the hospital? What do you mean they were crystallized? And he said, yeah, that's what the doctor said. And I'm like, how was there like a lot of calcium or something? He's like, no, that apparently that's what happens when you have, cancer sometimes, is it crystallizes your ovaries. or some shit. And I was just like, okay, I guess. I guess? I don't know. These are going to be things he has to answer for when I go and see him,
Hold on.
on the 17th.
Crystallized ovaries.
I looked it up. I did not see anything that actually was called crystallized ovaries caused by cancer. Nothing with like a concrete explanation or anything like that.
No, not really. I'm not really seeing anything. Google, you failed me.
I'm not really surprised. It fails sometimes.
Oh well. Anyway.
Yeah. So basically, the terms and conditions for my outpatient stuff is I can't bend, I can't squat, I can't kneel, I can't twist my abdomen or anything like that. So basically, if something falls into the floor, I just have to stare at it and be mad it did that because I can't bend down and pick it up. And so basically all I can do is sit or lay down.
Oh, okay, I found pictures, and they're nasty.
Oh, don't look at that.
No, they're terrible. No.
Is there like an explanation or something that follows with them?
I'm afraid I only looked at pictures,
Oh.
and I'm not going to be looking at them for much longer.
But, yeah, I'm sure he'll explain stuff to me when I go see him on the 17th. But that's as much as I know in regards to that. I'm doing alright. It's just, in between the pain medicine, I'm losing track of time and days. And and dropping things on the floor and not being able to pick them up is, really annoying and frustrating. And I've yelled at Kelvin on several occasions by calling him up and being like, I dropped so-and-so on the floor and I can't goddamn pick it up, motherfucker, son of a bitch. I've been super annoyed by that. And I guess it's just at the fact that I can't do simple things. And so then my temper goes out the window and I'm just so angry and I'm getting mad about little things.
Well, that's to be expected. I'm going to make an assumption about you. You're used to living by yourself and relying on yourself.
Yes.
And now you're in a position where you're in recovery and you can't do everything by yourself. And it's frustrating. I understand that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out how I'm supposed to get in the shower and wash my hair because I'm not really supposed to get this area wet, but I need a bath and I especially need to wash my hair, which is incredibly long, by the way, so it takes a bit of time to wash.
I think you do, like, I think they're called, like, poverty showers, where you just do most of the major washing at the sink.
Well, see, I would like to do that, except my brother hasn't bothered to do the dishes. And
I meant the bathroom sink.
Oh.
But okay.
But, well, see, I've been thinking to wash my hair in the kitchen sink like my mother used to, because her hair was not as long, but hers, like, stopped at her butt, and mine goes all the way down to my knees.
Right.
And, but the problem is I need a rather big sink. And it would be better for me to do it in the kitchen rather than the bathroom anyway, because that's less bending I have to do. And I can't really bend, as per doctor's orders.
Just stick your head in the shower and leave the rest of you out.
Well, I mean, I guess I could do that too, but then water might go everywhere. I don't know. I'll figure something out once my brother gets here.
I'm sure you will.
But, yeah, that's basically been it. And I'll know more about Kelvin whenever he sees his doctor. And any questions or stuff you want to know that maybe I didn't really go into?
No, I don't think so. I mainly just that my purpose for coming in here is to listen to you talk and to offer.
Pretend like you care. I see how it is.
Oh, you wound me to the core. I am bleeding on the inside.
I'm sure you are.
My ovaries are crystallizing.
I mean, that might explain why I had some girl-themed pain even when I wasn't on my period. Maybe that was the cancer or something. I don't know. I didn't think to ask him because it didn't seem to be a part of all that. But now I'm wondering if it was.
Girl-themed pain.
Yeah, like cramps and
pink
shit.
ribbons, unicorns.
Like menstrual cramps
No,
and stuff
I know
like that.
No.
I'm trying to be super polite.
Except that then you explain it by saying, "Oh, menstrual cramps." The words you were trying to avoid, they just come out.
Well, if you're gonna make fun of me for my flowery language,
okay,
I'll just be a grown-up then and say what it is. But
okay.
no, I've been having issues like with like random cramps or pain, and I didn't know. At the time I was just like, "Ow, that really hurts." Girl anatomy is stupid, and I wish I didn't have to deal with it. But I mean, now that I'm aware of the cancer, and now that I've had the surgery, like how like my ovaries were crystallized. What the fuck? I've been wondering if maybe that's just like been, where the pain is coming from, as I've had all this wrong in there, and and that was its covert way of saying, "Hey, go to the doctor, dumbass."
You don't want us to crystallize something else, do you?
So, I mean, as far as I know, I'm not going to have radiation or anything like that. But considering he had to take everything out, and then I heard the word crystallized ovaries, I don't know at this point. Maybe what he told me has changed. I mean, really, all that's still going to pathology to be checked out to see how bad it is. But I'm thinking if it's so bad that he had to take the ovaries out too, then I don't know. Hopefully it's not, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, I hope so, because you don't got anything left to take, really.
No, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, like I said, I'd have to I'm seeing them on the 17th, and he would tell me, all the stuff that I don't know yet about the surgery and what he took out then. So, I mean, right now, it's just kind of up in the air. I'm like, well, was it worse than we thought? Am I still, like, okay to just be out for 6 weeks and then go back to work, or, what? 'Cause I don't know yet.
Right.
But it's sounding like it might have been worse than, everyone first thought.
Well, I wouldn't assume it was, super negative until they tell you.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm just guesstimating based on the little information I have, and that's really not good. But I mean, of course, I'm going to, because that's all the information I have. So.
Right.
So I mean, honestly, there's just stuff at this point I'm speculating about, but I don't know anything.
Right. Well, I don't know. You should probably try not to worry about things, which is an impossible task, I understand. But, and focus on, getting, recovering from the surgery and, getting back to,
doing normal things, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess, my plan was to, maybe wait a week, make sure everything is, taken care of, and then I'm not gonna fall asleep at the drop of a hat. Because once I take that medicine, it seems like I'm out like a light. And, hopefully, maybe I can start streaming, next week sometime. I'm not exactly sure when.
Okay.
But,
that'll give me time to set stuff up, or get things set, or do something, figure something out.
It'll probably be on YouTube, on, Picardo, and maybe Twitch, if we're playing a game or something. Basically, I'm gonna have a donation thing set up to help out with, medical costs and stuff. The best news I've got all through this situation so far has been that my insurance is going to pay 70% of all this, and estimated cost towards me is going to be like $1,000. I was really? Wow.
That's a super huge relief, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, $1,000? Dude, I can pay that off in a couple of months with, monthly payments. The whole gallbladder surgery, I still owe like $16,000 on. So, I'm not sure how that ended up costing more than this, but I'm very grateful.
Right. Well, we'll figure out some things to do.
Yeah,
fundraise.
I mean, I got a shit ton of books here that I got from work in preparation for the fact that I'd be off for 6 weeks to read for Red Knot or whatever. And then there's also the list for Bad Fanfiction Theater and maybe some I Love Fanfiction Theater. Well, not I Love Fanfiction Theater, it's just I Love Fanfiction, but anyway. And, of course, I got some games on Steam that I could probably play if people really wanted to see that. And then maybe some other stuff if we could think of it. And, of course, some art, too.
Oh, I didn't know you had a show called I Love Fanfiction.
Yeah, it's just that usually that one I just read straight. And so it's not really all that popular, I don't think. But I like trying to feature stories that I think are like what you should aspire to, but may not necessarily be flawless. You know, because you want to write good, but it's impossible to write perfectly.
Right. I'm trying to think of stuff to help you out.
Well, thank you.
Is the long and short of this rambling project.
Oh, well, that's all right. I mean, I don't even know what we're going to do during the stream aside from probably fucking around, so.
Well, there's Chicken Horse, which might make a good, fucking around thing. We've got some of they're like the jackpot games. I've got one called Use Your Words. It's a fun little party game that can be played online, so that'll be good. I had an idea. I think I pitched to you where I've got a couple upcoming comics. I think if we get a couple people together, we could do a read of them in their raw state as they are right now, and that could be interesting. I'll take the pages into Photoshop and cut them into individual panels, and just set it up so that all you have to do is push the arrow key in the picture viewer.
Basically a radio program-ish.
Yeah, something like that. So, it ought to be fun.
Yeah, but I mean, art, maybe some video games. I have all that's available on Steam at the moment, or I should have all the Higurashi games. So we could probably do some Higurashi, which is basically me reading shit if people want to enjoy that. Reading books, reading fan fiction. I think I've already said drawing, I don't remember now. But yeah, I guess just whatever we feel like doing whenever I decide to start streaming.
Right.
Now, Hushicho has told me that if we do like art on Picario, he's up for a multi-streaming, if he's awake and around.
Okay.
And, I mean, you can too, and, Jackie can join us if she wants. I don't know anybody else who has a Picario, though.
I'm sure we can find somebody. Yeah, I know. Let's make it a big old gangbang party.
Yeah, I mean, we can figure out the time and day we're gonna do this once I feel more up to actually doing stuff, but at the moment, I'm trying to get the pain and stuff out of the way so that I can stop taking the pain meds and actually be aware of what day and time it is.
Okay. Well, what? Do you not know what? You just got done saying it was Sunday.
Yeah, like Kelvin had to tell me that it was Sunday, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize. Well, crap. What happened to yesterday? He's like, I don't know.